Please help our students to continue to grow in your love and to love one another. Please walk with them on their journey as they continue here at Northwest Catholic and in their education beyond. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay. So we would like to spend just a couple minutes introducing ourselves. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Morrison, who works with students at the beginning of the alphabet.
Hi, my name is Kelly Morrison, and like Mrs. Alex said, I work with students A through F. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I'll have the opportunity to meet you over the next month or so with our individual junior meetings if I haven't already. I am also new this year to Northwest Catholic, but not new to the counseling field. And it's been a pleasure getting to know your students so far, and I look forward to helping them and you through this journey.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo Foreign. Hopefully I look familiar to a lot of you. I'm in my 21st year at Northwest, and this year I have the pleasure of working with Mrs. Morrison and Mrs. Alex. I'm really enjoying learning and getting to know them, and Northwest is very fortunate to have had them join us. I know this college planning can sometimes be a stressful and a little bit uncertain and scary time for families. You know, our goal, I hope, is to be here every step of the way with you, to explain it, to share our knowledge with you. I know personally this is like one of the favorite aspects of my job, that I really get to know my students better and work with their families. And those of you that are first-time parents, this is daunting. Those of you that have had one or two in college know that things will work out. I can tell you I have seen a lot, and I guess my advice would be congratulations on being as informed as you can, and enjoy this process with your students as well.
Yes, thanks, Mary Jo. And again, I'm Mrs. Alex, and I work with students who have last names N through Z. And I would just like to echo that this is just such an exciting time in a student's life to be growing in high school, but also to be looking forward to all the possibilities of the future. And Mr. Mike Tyler, who is not with us this evening because this isn't his primary focus, but Mr. Mike Tyler also works in our department. He's our school social worker, and he is another great member of our team. So we couldn't mention the counseling department without him. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Morrison, who will review tonight's agenda.
Great, so just before we get started, if you have questions throughout the program, you will see a little speech bubble. That is our chat feature. You can type your question there, and we will be checking it throughout the presentation, and we can answer your questions there. So tonight's agenda, we're just going to quickly touch base on some of these aspects, as you'll have more in-depth information with your individual meeting with you, your counselor, and your child. We're just going to go over what the typical college planning timeline looks like. Naviance, the program that we really use mainly in this college search. We'll talk a little bit about the standardized testing and the preparation before the students take the SAT on March 24th. What the next steps are and the to-do items. And then our main part of this presentation is for you to listen to the college panel that students listened to today during their advisory. There are admissions reps from UConn, Endicott, and Fordham, and you'll get to hear all the questions that were asked of them about the different programs and see what they have to say. So first, Naviance is a computerized program that is a housekeeping to what we do. So the students have an account that you can use their username and password if you'd like to see what they're doing, and we see what they're doing. So there are three main tabs, and you'll see on the next slide when I get to that what this program really does. So there's a career tab that the students have been using this program since they were freshmen. They've done career interest inventories, personality assessments. There's a career search tool that then gives them majors that would be good for them based off of the different information that they use. The main portion of Naviance that they're really diving into now is the colleges tab. So the students have already started learning about the college search tools. When we went into their advisories and did one of the lessons about building a college list. They got to see firsthand and start making their list. You'll see on the next slide also the scattergram tool where we talk about reach, qualified, and likely schools. And then lastly is the About Me tab. Under here is different surveys that the students answer, so we can always access this information. One of the things that we will ask in order for us to write your child's letter of recommendation is that you complete the parent questionnaire and your child completes the student questionnaire. These are both found under the surveys. They will also be on the portal if you prefer to use it that way. But you can just log in with your child's account information and you would fill out the questionnaire and we would be able to see that information. The students will also be working on building a resume. It formats it nicely for them and they can constantly go back and add and change to that as well. So Naviance, this is just a quick snippet of what Naviance offers. During your individual meeting, if you haven't had it already, you will get to see this more in depth with personalized information from your student. So the first one that you can see is the blue one where it says College Search Tools. This is what the welcome screen looks like. And under My Favorites, it says Colleges I'm Thinking About. This is the main focus of what students should be doing right now. Any schools that they think they may be interested in applying to, this is where this list is going to get saved. They can add and delete to this as many times as they want, but it gives us the opportunity to be able to see what schools they're interested in. Any conversations we have, all this data will be stored there. When looking for a certain school, at the bottom of the page where it says College Overview, this school, I believe, says Holy Cross. This information is the most up-to-date from the colleges. So it gives great information about deadlines, the percentage accepted, how many students from our school typically apply, the cost of the school, certain information like that. And then if you click on the admissions, it will bring you to this scattergram. So this scattergram over here, this is UConn. This is showing data from all Northwest students since we have had the program. And for UConn here, this is not just information from the Storrs campus. This can be any of the other campuses as well. The green check would mean that the student was accepted. A red X means a denial. A purple circle would mean waitlisted, and your child will be plotted as a blue person. This scattergram is based off of your GPA and SAT score. So when building a list, we constantly point out the scattergram to the child. So when we talk about building an appropriate list, we talk about reach, qualified, and likely schools. So a reach school would be that your child's GPA and SAT scores are lower than what the school is looking for. Qualified, they are right on par, and likely your child's credentials are higher than what the school is looking for. So because this is an example, you won't see the person, but during your individual meeting, you'll see where your child is plotted, and it's going to be based off of their current PSAT scores until they take the SAT on March 24th. Once that data comes back, that will be uploaded into Naviance, and this will become more accurate for you. And next, I'm going to pass it over to Mrs. Foran, who's going to talk a little bit about testing.
Thank you. Before I get to the testing, I just want to clarify that the most important piece of the college application for the student is going to be their transcript, which is their record of achievement over 4 years at a strong college preparatory high school. And we're in the middle of that course selection process. So when they're thinking and exploring colleges a little bit, they want to remember to continue to challenge themselves into that 4th year of high school and take a wide and challenging array of classes in their senior year in order to prepare them to be successful at college. Beyond the transcript, standardized tests have traditionally been a big part of college admissions. That is changing a little bit. Prior to COVID, there were many colleges that were SAT optional, meaning that students were given the option of submitting SATs or ACTs if they so choose, but they were not required. However, bigger institutions like UConn, for example, would always require standardized tests. But because of COVID, for the current seniors, for your juniors, and in many situations for the current sophomore students, colleges are waiving standardized test requirements as part of the admissions process. So what that means, I think, is they certainly it gives students a little bit more of an option. We're going to recommend, as we said, we're going to be taking the SAT at school. The juniors will be taking it on March 24th. They have practiced 9th grade, 10th grade. They took the PSAT in October. They most certainly want to take that culmination by actually taking the SAT. They want to practice and prepare. They want to see the results of that effort. They have opportunities to take the test again if they choose. So we do recommend taking the SAT. I think one of the new things to keep in mind because of the virus is that the students are gonna be in control of whether they submit their standardized test scores or not. And so that can be a question to discuss individually with your counselor as well. This chart briefly compares the SAT and the ACT. You know, the SAT is going to have really 2 sub-scores, reading and math. The duration is about 3 hours. The math portions of the SAT, some are allowed to use a calculator. There's a section where calculators are not allowed, and it is scored on a 400 to 1600 scale. And again, we have put your students have had a lot of practice with the SAT. Some students may find the ACT a better alternative for them. Some students take both the SAT and the ACT. The ACT scored a little bit differently, has really 4 sub-scores: English, math, reading, and science. They are both about the same length now. You can always use a calculator on the math version of the ACT. Some students may find the ACT more accessible. Again, only 1/4 of that total score is going to be math. And if they're stronger in English reading and the science portion, which is predominantly a lot of graphs, some students may choose to do that as well. Colleges don't have a preference, one or the other. And again, students do have the option of taking both of those if they would desire. Another big thing they've heard about is that the SAT has dropped the essay portion. And again, we had been hearing from colleges for a number of years that they did not put significant weight on the essay. On the essay portion of the SAT, that instead they would put more weight on the essay done to accompany in the Common App to accompany their application. So there is no longer an essay component to the SAT. The next slide again just gives a little suggestions for both the SAT and the ACT. We have shown the students how to link their PSAT scores with Khan Academy. That is free practice. And again, geared toward their strengths and weaknesses based on their actual PSAT scores. They have a schedule, and students that have used Khan Academy have told me that it works well for them, breaks it down, and again, it's pretty affordable. So again, kids are going to take the SAT in school on Wednesday, March 24th, in the comfort and familiarity of Northwest Catholic. They will take it in advisory with their current advisory mates. And then if they're happy with that score, that's wonderful. They have an opportunity to take it again if they so choose. And then just important to remember that high SAT scores are always a wonderful thing. But again, the student is going to have some control in the decision to send those scores to be evaluated with those scores or without them. Heather, I think you're next.
Okay, alrighty. So what I'm going to jump into here for a few minutes is a little bit about College Admissions 101, which is the program that we're unrolling month by month for the junior students. It's a way to break down this detailed process into very manageable pieces. So in December, we started an online platform. It's a Microsoft team. It's a group for all of the juniors at Northwest Catholic. And we started posting videos there along with other information and suggested activities to assist students first and foremost in December with understanding their PSAT scores that we handed back to them, as well as instructions on how to link their College Board account with Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a popular website that has tutorial videos in just about any academic subject area. So some of you may have heard of it before, but when linking a student's PSAT scores with their Khan Academy account, it actually offers a personalized SAT practice plan. It's completely free, and students do find that if they dedicate some time to this Khan Academy program, that they can increase their scores. We also asked students to really take a moment to stop and reflect on who they are as a person. What are their gifts? What are their strengths? What are their likes and interests? What is their personality? So the Do What You Are inventory on Naviance is based off of the Myers-Briggs inventory. And so Do What You Are does produce a nice little summary of everyone's personality according to the personality types developed by Myers-Briggs. Of course, there are several theories out there, but this is just one. And then linking it to career interests, possible college majors a student may be interested in. By no means do we expect that this is the end-all be-all to make life decisions such as what sort of a career might I be interested in one day, but it is just to get the students thinking. We do find that this college application process is in and of itself a growth process. The students are doing so much reflecting, writing, and thinking about who they are as individuals and what makes them unique and special. So from there, in January, we started to talk about college search factors. And along the way in January, we started going to the advisory classrooms to talk about some of these things. And we introduced Naviance, much in the same way that Mrs. Morrison discussed Naviance this evening. So we do ask that you carve out some time, maybe once every other week or once a month, whatever works for you and your family, to sit down and talk a little bit about where you are in the process. What are these cool tools that the counselors were talking about? And let's look at Naviance together. In March, we plan to support the students with building that resume using the resume builder in Naviance. We're also planning to talk about understanding the application process and interviewing skills. So stay posted there. We have some fun ideas in the works in terms of preparing for interviews. And then in May and June, how to write an outstanding college essay. We certainly want students to feel that before they leave for the summer, they have a good handle on how to write a strong college essay and a good handle on how to complete a college application so that we can send you on your way with the tools that you need to start filling out college applications prior to September, if that's how you would like to budget your time. We will be meeting with you individually, so counselors are inviting students to meet during their free periods, and we are inviting students, parents or guardians to join us via Teams during this COVID world that we're living in. We will discuss things such as your transcript, as Mrs. Foran said. That's first and foremost what colleges look at. And we'll talk a little bit about the course selection for going into senior year and how that plays into college plans. If you are interested in taking the SAT or the ACT or using any of those strategies that Mrs. Foran was discussing, certainly more and more schools are going test optional, but a number of students and families are still interested in what a personalized plan for that looks like. And then, of course, talking about the factors that go into college and or career planning. So that's a little bit of an overview with some of the supports that are unfurling and still coming down the pike throughout the rest of junior year. I can hear the questions coming in. I just can't see them with this presentation up. So Mrs. Morrison, if I need to stop, or Mrs. Foran, if I need to stop, let me know.
Nope.
I'm happy to pause here for further questions, actually, before I keep going.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. So the next steps or the to-do list is often sometimes helpful when we're trying to wrap our minds around, okay, well, what do I need to do next here? So first and foremost, just please make sure that your child stays in touch with his or her counselor prior to the end of the school year about any questions. So even if they haven't had their junior planning appointment yet, that is coming. You don't have to wait till the appointment to ask questions about applying to college, okay? So that's exactly why we're here. We are a resource to you. And even after you have your junior planning appointment, please don't ever hesitate to follow up with your school counselor with remaining questions. We love this process. So take the SAT school day on March 24th. I've noticed that there's still a handful of students who have not completed the survey in Naviance under About Me that asks what your do-what-you-are personality inventory type is, and that asks you whether you would like to take the March 24th SAT. So please try to get that done by the end of the week. I'm going to be following up with the families and students that we have not heard from yet. It does appear that many students are planning to take it. We are not requiring it this year simply because we understand that some of you are virtual and may not be able to make it into the school on testing day on the 24th. But certainly take a test in March, please. Research colleges online, attend virtual information sessions, and visit campuses. These are some of the ways that you can visit college campuses, and you'll hear more about this from our panel in just a moment. Complete the resume by the end of March. That's a goal for the students in Naviance. We will again be helping them with that. Complete the parent questionnaire and student questionnaire by the first week in June. I know Mrs. Morrison already mentioned that. Write college essay drafts over the summer to be reviewed in August and September by an English teacher and or your school counselor. Have a list of about 6 to 8 prospective colleges by September. So we do ask that this is the season to research, explore, visit however you can, and really narrow down that list of prospective colleges to start to find those colleges that are the right fit. Students really don't need to apply to too many colleges, more than 6 to 8. If you want to apply to 10, that is okay. But really doing the research up front is most helpful. It's difficult senior year to apply to more than that because then narrowing it down later in senior year can be a very difficult task. Individual student counselor meetings will also occur again in the fall of senior year to go over the nuts and bolts of the application process and what our office protocols are for submitting applications. And there will be another senior planning night evening that goes into those details as well. Okay, so we did want to ensure that we gave you a brief overview of everything that the juniors are learning so that families and students can all be on the same page, as well